All right, Scott Omer, you want to come forth? I'd like for you to meet Scott. Hear Scott's story, and I want Scott to participate in this event as well. And as we go through these transactions, you'll hear what we really do. No seminar garbage, what we really do, good, bad, and ugly. Mistakes made, things learned. Scott, how long have you been with me at this point?
5 months.
5 months, okay. Scott came to me from Ohio. Scott's got a long history in buying properties for cash, funding them with private loans, selling them on land contract, and ultimately getting them cashed out to the tune of about, how many deals a year were you guys doing?
We were doing about 150 a year.
About 150 a year, okay. So Scott didn't know anything about this act stuff, totally foreign to him. Pretty house business was kind of foreign to you, right?
Yeah. Most of the stuff we did was lower to middle income.
Okay. So here he comes down to Florida, and I stick him right out there in the arena just about the time this act stuff started. Is about right? Yeah? Okay. So we were all babes in the woods on this. So we started generating leads, and it took you quite a while to get acclimated to the business, to get your first deal negotiated. It took you a little while to learn how to talk to the sellers because you were learning new language and all of that. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, when I came down here, I thought it was going to be very simple. Conceptually, this program is very simple, but the pitch, the spiel, being able to answer the seller objections, it took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, and probably a little longer than you anticipated as well. But you know, about 6-8 weeks into it, after talking to enough people and feeling comfortable, I got the hang of it, and now I'm at the point where I feel as long as I can get a seller on the phone that is willing to, you know, be flexible with terms, I can usually get the axe deals done.
Yeah. All right. How many axe deals are we currently doing per week, per month, whatever, Scott?
Well, we're doing 2 to 3 a week. Last week we did 3. This week we only did 1. And it's just a matter of the lead flow coming in and you know, getting on the phone. But
okay. And what's our average profit that we're getting out of the axe deals?
Average is about $6-7 grand. We've had a couple 10s, we've had a couple 5s, but the average is right in that $6,500.
Okay. Pretty much like the Ionatis, huh? Yeah. In fact, all you have to do is one more deal per month than they do.
Okay. That's some heavy competition.
So you keep a constant tabs on that, and just understand that if they tell you they did 10, they lied. They really did more probably. Yeah, okay, all right. What was the hardest thing that you had to, what was the hardest thing, a hurdle you crossed when you started, in your opinion, especially since you've been talking to a lot of students now and you hear their same issues? What is that, you think?
Probably seller objections. I think that there's concern, obviously, with the seller as to the structure of the deal, any of the potential pitfalls, and I think that once I was able to present it in a professional fashion and address those objections, I think that was probably the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome, and once I became comfortable with that and was able to obviously convey that to the sellers, they were comfortable as well.
Okay. And the problem is actually just explaining it to them in a manner which their objections were actually answered before they even get a chance to come up with them.
Exactly. Without over-talking.
Yeah, and without over-talking. So if we want to narrow it right down to the nitty-gritty, that was probably the biggest issue, is diarrhea of the mouth.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, and you just hit a great point. In my approach to the sellers, if I can address the perceived objections in what I say, then they really have no questions to ask. And I've started recording myself recently and listening to myself back.
It was ugly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ugly in a couple of them, and you know, but I'm trying to get better and more fluid. And again, when I've got a series of bullet points that, as long as I hit those in my presentation or my approach, there's really not a lot of objections that they have to state.
And really, it comes down to is screening the ones on the front end that are ready to do business, so that you don't get out in the field and start talking to a bunch of people that you really shouldn't even be there to begin with. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and we had to spend some time early on with our VAs making sure that they were answering or getting the questions answered that we needed. You can go through the sheet that Ron devised. Obviously, all the questions there are addressed in a fluid fashion, and it tells you right there, most times, whether or not you've got a prospect or a suspect.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So how about the selling side? On the selling side, where are we at right now? Because you got a bunch of houses, because we got a bunch of bank-owned properties we just closed on about 3 or 4 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you got a bunch of axe deals. We're going to talk about selling houses tomorrow, so we don't need to get into that right now, but what would you say the average time between the time we get control of a house and the time we put a buyer in a house, give or take?
Well, we're obviously always trying to shrink that and trying to, have our buyers lined up for the houses as soon as we get them. But, usually within a couple of weeks, we have some very good activity, and some of the higher payments have taken us a little bit longer. But, usually within 30 days, most of our inventory, 30 to 45 days, is moved on these axe deals.
Wow. 45 days is probably on the long side, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you got a couple of houses right now where you got 3, I know you got one house, you got 3 different applicants on.
Got two more applications last night, so on the same house.
On the same house. Yeah. So is that 5?
5.
Oh, that's nice. So we get to choose between 5 different tenant buyers on that house and probably have that house sold.
Oh, yeah.
To another investor, but we're responsible for putting the tenant buyer in there. So it's a matter of just building them buyers lists, which we'll talk about tomorrow, and then plugging the houses into the buyers and not have to spend all your life scrounging up buyers. All right. Okay, well, Scott, thank you. He's going to screen all of your deals that you guys brought in, and after lunch, when we start talking about pre-screening, I'm going to go through some of those, and we'll try to pick some off the top and give me a variety, will you?
Yep.
Some goods and some bads and some uglies, and let's see if we can turn up some deals here. How many would you say you have all together right now?
I'd say there's probably 15, 20.
Okay, that's a good start. All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Scott Omer.